Okay, welcome back for the last part of this. Quick things. If you notice my hair is a little wet, if you notice my shirt is a little different, this is because I decided I would take a shower and take like a small break, uh, preparing for the neutral video. And okay, so I'm out of the shower. I'm a lot cleaner than I was. I think I smell nicer than I did. And anyways, I'm back over here. So the neutrals. The neutrals, for the most part, cards we've seen. There's like not that much really that like there's only a few I would say like really high impact neutrals. So I'm just going to go over those very quickly here. Dragon Moss Scorcher. So this is not Primordial Drake where you play it and you flip the board. This is the card that you play so that you can stay alive until you can play a Primordial Drake and flip the board. So that it's 5 mana. Like obviously it's 5 mana and it's 3 stats less than a Dread Infernal, which is like a really good card. But the battle cry is the important thing because deal 1 damage to all other minions. Having this card around, I think it's actually better than Dread Infernal, even counting for mana, because you want that AoE to be a lot cheaper. You want it to be faster. Sometimes, and there's plenty of times, Dread Infernal is just too slow. And having Dragon Scorcher a turn earlier, and having it be a dragon, and having it be good stats, I think it's just a lot. I think it's a roughly equivalent to Dread Infernal, and I think it's a lot better than that. So that's going to be a high impact card. So that's high impact card number one. High impact card number two. I'm just going to randomly go through cards I think will change things here. Line Cracker. It's an epic, so you're not going to see it that much, but I think the overkill on it puts this in a weird spot where I think this is about as good of a vanilla stat line and effect that you're going to get. Because this makes it have soft taunt, or this makes it where you have to risk that they just don't have removal for your taunts while you weaken this up. So I think this is like a really powerful, like this will become the go-to big drop once Sated Threshodon and Violet Worm all rotate out. Just going over these. Okay, number 3, Amani Warbear. I'm just saying these quickly as the impact cards. So we already have Hungry Etten, sorry, not Hungry Etten, Furious Etten, which is 2 more health. We have Charged Devilsaur, which is 1 mana more and 2 more attack. Having these combined, I would say it's probably around the same power level as those cards. But it's a big minion, it's removal, it's taunt, it's board presence, it's really good. It's something going into turn 7 you really should be playing around 5 damage because this is going to be a premium card as long as it's not heavily overbucketed. And then the big thing here, the Ticket Scalper. So the tickets look CGI. Okay, I don't know. Anyways, so this is going to be probably the Giggling Inventor of the set, or the Vicious Fledgling of the set, where it's a card where sometimes it's just going to win you the game because its effect goes off. So you really need to keep this card in mind when the set, like during the Rumble, and then going into next year when everything rotates and this card is in with a very small set. So with Ticket Scalper, Overkill, draw 2 cards. Like that, draw 2 cards is Arcane Intellect. That's 3 mana worth of stuff, and it's put on a 3.5 mana worth of body. So if the impact goes off, it's 6 mana for 4 mana, basically. Really insane. And if you're Shaman, this Overkill can just continually kill your totems and can go infinite, basically. So the key thing is 3 health. If you have removals, if you have ways to deal 3 damage, you need, going into turn 4, to keep that in mind. All right, so that's basically a rough overview of like the really powerful cards. So I'm just going to go down these cards very quickly. I want to go rarity by rarity, but Blizzard doesn't have it here. Okay, Spell Zerker, +2 spell damage when damaged. Mage can do things with this. Other cards, other classes really can't. So in most classes, it's a slightly better River Croc. River Croc is Here, I'll just use Druid because Druid's like my default here. River Croc, 6 minus, so 6 plus in most other classes. And in Mage, you could say this is probably like 5 plus, 5 minus or 5 plus. I have 5 minus on my written stuff, so if you want to say 5 plus or whatever, go ahead. Okay, Shield Breaker. The problem is that aggro decks are pretty much dead, so I don't think that this is really going to matter all that much. It might be useful, like when you have the Paladin, a new challenger, as kind of a counter for that, or for Obsidian statues. So there's definitely going to be cases where this works, but it's basically a tech card. Tech cards really aren't that great. I would say this one is, well, let me get, as that here. I would say 7 plus for this one because there are uses for it, but usually it's not that good. Serpent Ward, bad. Like, if you can protect it, maybe, but like even if you can't protect it, like how much damage would you need to do for this to actually be decent? Bottom of the 7th bucket. Scarab Egg. Eggs suck in Arena. We know that. So Scarab Egg is probably not going to do anything. Like all the eggs are bottom of the 7th bucket. This will be in the bottom of the 7th bucket as well. Rumbletusk Shaker. We know from Cursed Disciple. So like compare this to a couple cards. We can compare this to Cursed Disciple. We can compare this to 4 mana 3/3 Divine Shield Silvermoon Guardian. And this is kind of similar to that. So like Cursed Disciple, what was really good was that you needed 2 pings, otherwise it was 5 damage. Here, this is just, it's going to be a stickier body. So I would put it bottom of the 5th bucket, like right around here. You can see these are not, like some of these are decent cards, some of these are not that great of cards. I think it's a little bit better than the Silvermoon Guardian because like you can't just ping off the first thing. You have to actually invest something to deal with it. But yeah, I think it's definitely worse than Cursed Disciple, better than Silvermoon right here. So bottom of the 5th bucket, what I would say for that. Whoops. Hold on, where are we? Rhastakan's remote. Okay. Regenerating Thug. So if this sticks, it restores 2 health to itself. So it could potentially be a 3/7 or a 3/9. It's kind of got soft taunt. Like it's a decent card. Let me see here. Like I would say that it does more in the late game, but like in the late game, if you've got like a bunch of small stuff on the board, it can just keep on benefiting from that. I don't think the regeneration is going to matter all that much, and a 3/5 is like a bottom of 7 bucket. I'll say 5 minus on this one. Like decent card, but I don't think like really overpowered. Ice Cream Peddler. The only 2 ways to really justify this are Hildnir Frost Rider and Frozen Crusher, both of which rotate out next expansion. So I imagine next expansion we're getting a bunch of self-free stuff. In any case, it's 4 mana 3/5. Those are top of the 7th bucket, pretty much. Hapless Hatchling. Oh, cute card. Why is that a beast when it's clearly a dragon? Like, look here. The Helpless Hatchling. It's clearly got a dragon nose. It's clearly got dragon wings. It clearly looks like a dragon. It's like a dragon tongue. Why is it a beast? Like, if this was a dragon just to screw up Dragon's Roar, I would be happy about that. Okay. Anyways, we know these effects. We've seen them in like the Shaman one, the Fire Plume Elemental or whatever. The 2 mana 1/1 that makes all your elementals cost 1 less, or reduce the cost of all of them. Making it, turning it down to 1 and having it only affect 1 thing doesn't matter. Bottom of the 7th bucket. Gurubashi Offering. It's heal only by itself, which is pretty bad in Arena, even for 1 mana. And it has to live a turn to heal. So garbage, bottom of the 7th bucket. Former champ. Summon a 5/5 hotshot. So the 1/1 body does make overkill more of a thing, so sometimes that's bad. But we got here with former champ, we're getting 6/6 in stats for 5. Compare that to before we had Big Time Racketeer, which was a 1/1 that's some of the 6/6 for 6. So we know what that is. And that was pretty good. That was definitely better than the Boulder Fist Ogre. So for former champ, let me see, where is former champ here? I have it in the top of the 5th bucket. Cards are like slightly above average, like here. Necromancer probably should be up, but you can see the cards, or you can go to the website and check these out. Anyways, it's top of the 5th bucket. I think it's a good card. I don't think it's like premium for various reasons, but it's definitely an overstated card. It's a decent card. Let's see here. Keep going down. Drakari Trickster. Worse than a normal 3/4 because you do not want to give opponents things that you don't know about. You can have an idea for your deck, what is in your deck, but you won't actually know. And maybe you'll just give them that one, giving them that one card that screws you over is worse than just a regular 3/4. So for that one, I have it. I would say, well, yeah, bottom of the 5th bucket. Bottom of the 5th bucket here, Steel Rager, upgradable frame bot. What I should have done was I should have for you guys, I should have done like this earlier. That make it easier for you to see what it was. I'm sorry that I just realized that was a good idea now. All right. Anyways, moving on from here. Dozing Marksman. You're not going to trigger it. Bottom of the 7th bucket, pretty much. Booty Bay Bookie. Problem is that there are a bunch of 3-mana 3/4s that'll just eat it, so you're giving your opponent a free coin. We know Hoarding Dragon is not a great card, and it's a lot lower than it should be because you give your opponent 2 coins on death. So the Bookie, I'm going to be extremely generous and say that it is in the bottom of the 6th bucket, but I know that I might be overrating that a lot. I do think that it's draftable. I do think that I would probably take it over a 2/3 just because there's a lot of things that eat 2/3s. So that's like I'm putting it in the bottom of the 6th bucket. But yeah, it's a dangerous card. Be very careful with this. Banana Buffoon. I should have brought this up as like one of the like important cards because we know from Fungalmancer that a buff is that giving out buffs is really strong. Like its net effect is only half of Fungalmancer, which is not all that great. But you can save these effects with things like a shaman or priest. These bananas count as spells, which matter for your draw depending on your spell cards. Like a 1/1 buff that's free is really good. So I think ultimately Banana Buffoon might be one of the. It's not like a great. It's not like a absolutely great card, but I think it's a very good card. Why do I not have Banana Buffoon? Banana Buffoon. I actually have a top of the 4th bucket is where I put it. So cards here like Choan Yeti, Shroomboar, maybe a little bit of reach there, but I honestly think that there's a lot of things you can do with bananas, and I'm really, really high on bananas. All right, Arena Treasure Chest. It's an egg, except it draws cards instead of puts overpowered stuff on the board. It's like you're not even getting above average tempo, you're getting below average tempo, so it's like even worse than an egg. Bottom of the 7th bucket. Arena Patron. I hate the spirit of the card. I hate Ben Brode for bringing up the spirit of the card because the spirit of the card is why this is complete crap. There's no reason that this can't be a 4/4 other than Grim Patron was a 3/3. As it is, it's complete garbage. It's completely useless. Like, making it a 4/4 would actually make it a halfway decent card that still wouldn't do anything. But making it a 3/3 with overkill, summon another Arena Patron, it's like they just purposely made a horrible card. Bottom of the 7th bucket, don't pick it. Arena Fanatic. Give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Paladin used to have a card, 5 mana 4/4, which I honestly forget the name of, but it was a 5 mana 4/4, and it continually gave all minions in your hand +1/+1. And that was not a good card. Like, here, I'm actually going to go all the way here. Introduction. So these are the first buckets right over here. So, like, and you can see it's like no formatting. But Paladin, I actually had stuff. So let me see here. Yeah, I had the Paladin stuff down here. Not Mean Street Marshal, not Grime Street Outfitter. I think Grime Street Enforcer here was like this is first bucket, second bucket, third bucket, fourth bucket. This is before they had the sub buckets. So Grime Street Enforcer was a fourth bucket card from like their initial things with like about a yearish of data. This is significantly worse than a Grime Street Enforcer in terms of stats, in terms of effect. Okay, we know that this card is bad. So ultimately, for Arena Fanatic, like maybe it will work. I'm being oh, I can move it around. Like I'm gonna be extremely generous, and I'm gonna say that it will be in the bottom of the fifth bucket, like with these cards here. Because I do think it's a little bit better. Like all you need to do is hit two things, so it's probably better than just like a regular vanilla statted minion. But I know this card is not going to be. It's gonna. There's so many things I want to say about it, but I don't want to say it because my voice is waning. But yeah, bottom of the fifth bucket. I'm not really high on this card. I could see it definitely being a lot worse than what I rated it. Dragonmouth Scorcher. I went over this card. This card is OP. This should be in the bottom of the first bucket. The AOE is insane. It will save your ass. It's a dragon, so it'll there's a dragon card, so it'll impact that. Overall, great card. Mosshog Enforcer. Sometimes it's going to be in a really annoying card. Sometimes you're going to flip it and you're going to deal 14 damage to the face. Most of the time, it's going to be a card that just bruises a bunch of things and does nothing. The 2 attack is so bad on this that I have it, like, I'm just going to double check here. Like, I think I have it 7th bucket. I have it top at 7th bucket just because maybe the health matters. But yeah, not really a good card. Halftime Scavenger. You compare this to Coppered Ale. Coppered Ale is here. It's 4/4 versus a 3/5 with stealth, except this one can overkill and gain something. So, naturally, it's better than the Coppertail. So, naturally, it should be a bucket above Coppertail. So, over here, top of the 5th bucket for the, where is it? Just double check here. That's what I have. Yeah, Halftime Scavenger, top of the 5th bucket. Just double checking with my stats here. Cheeky Ankle Biter, Blowgill Sniper Power Creep. Pings are useful. Lifesteal is useful because you're guaranteed at least like 3 life from it. So the card is definitely useful. I would say bottom of the 6th bucket because it might live and it might actually get you a lot of health depending on things. Okay. Whoopsie. So I just want to see something here. That guy has no feet. Like, you know, I just noticed that guy has no feet or no legs. Like here, he's got fingers, but that's just a stub right there. Like that's not a foot. I'm not sure. That's a stub. Okay, let's finish up. Ornery Tortoise. A lot of people are down on this card. I'm not that down on this card. Okay, so yeah, 3 mana, 3/5. Battlecry deal 5 damage to your hero. Okay, it's worse than Pit Lord. I know that. But it comes out at 3 mana, and the reason Pit Lord is bad is because Warlock takes a lot of damage. If you put Pit Lord in another class that actually has healing or doesn't take as much damage, then it's not that bad. Like, same thing with Tortoise. Put this in a warrior, put this in a priest, put this in a paladin that's got healing, and you can come back from this. Like in Warlock and Rogue, it's not going to be good. But I think it can actually be decent in other classes. So I'm going to go a lot higher than most people would go, and I'm going to say 4- on it. Okay, ignore Piloted Reaper. Egg Napper's probably too low. But like Mecharoo, Mad Bomber, Tangle for Mystic, all those cards. I think it's actually fairly decent in a lot of those classes. And then in Rogue and Warlock, you just don't pick it just because it's too much. Even in Rogue that really wants powerful 3-drops, don't pick it because it's too much damage. Mojo Master Zihi. This is a screw people in constructed card. This card has no business in arena. I would say bottom of the 3rd bucket, like a 28, maybe. It's just, it's not, don't take it. Snapjaw Shellfighter. Very, very, very interesting design at first. What this card says is 5 mana, give a minion +8 health. So I just want to think 5 mana, give a minion +8 health. That is really not that good. Like, if you think back to Priest had, what was it, Power Word Tentacles. So I'm just going to check. I'm not sure if I had enough Priest data to justify it, but Priest had Power Word Tentacles, which I would assume is the 6th or 7th bucket card. Yeah, Power Word Tentacles right here. This was a 0 bucket, 7th bucket card. And it was give a minion +2/+6. So this is effectively give a minion +8 health. Or play it as a 5 mana 3/8. Or be basically unplayable if you have something with 1 or 2 health on the board because it's going to take all the damage. So, like, all of that said, like, everybody has thought of all the cool combos, like that you can use it on your turn, that you can basically use it as a 5 mana Deaf Speaker. And like everything, analyzing this card, everything about this card tells me that this is not a good card, but there's a part of me that just says maybe it's going to hit. Maybe it's going to hit. It's going to be versatile. It's going to protect something. Like it's going to, like the one thing that it does have is kind of weird thing, overkill protection. Because if this has 1 health and you deal 100 damage to a minion that's next to, this will take all 100 damage. So it will take all that overkill. So I have it right now top of the 5th bucket. Like, I know how powerful this seems to people, but like you just look at it and it's weak. And that's part of the analysis thing where I think it's weak. Moshog Announcer. So remember, your opponents cannot reliably clear this because there's 50% chance to attack something else, including your face. Somebody, Kriparian, is going to die because an opponent is going to find lethal by attacking the Moshog Announcer, and it's going to redirect it to Krip's face. That will happen. I can guarantee you that's going to happen. But anyway, it's real good stats, 6/5, and it's got quasi protection. And it's like overall, I think it's an absolutely great card. It's one of the best epics there is. I have it 4+ because it's a bunch of stats, and then it has it's just extra stats. I could see 3- for it, but I think 4+, like these cards here, that's around where it should be. Okay, The Undertaker. So other than throwing Monk Ein off a Hell in a Cell, are you going to have Death Rattles? So first off, your Death Rattle, you have to draw on 3 Death Rattle minions. They have to have died for this guy to get value. So if one Death Rattle is worth about 1 mana worth of stats. So if it's about average-ish with 1 Death Rattle, above average of 2, and real good with 3. So problem is you need to have those Death Rattles go off. So 2 Death Rattles is what I would say the number is. So I think it's slightly above average. I would say it's 2- in the legendary buckets, like a 56 score. I don't think it's going to be like, it's cool and constructive, but I just don't think in Arena it's going to be all that reliable. Line Cracker, I talked about this one before. I think just the fact that you have to remove this or it grows out of control is so impactful and so dangerous that I'm really high on the card. I think it's going to be like, I definitely think Save Threshodon and Violet Worm are heavily under-bucketed, and I think they should be higher. So I have Line Cracker in the bottom of the 3rd bucket, I believe. Let me double check my list here. Yeah, bottom of the 3rd bucket. which a lot of see here, third bucket, like here, you see Firefly, Hildenir, Etten, MCT, Bone Drake. You can see cards are there. It's up against a lot of really good other neutrals there, just because of the threat and just because this is a card that might actually just win you the game when you have no business. But then again, it is kind of a slow card. Okay, Sightless Ranger. People have compared this to Feeding Time. So thing is, Feeding Time is definitely better than this card, but this has Overkill. There are a lot of like O3s on the board. There are people that are going to draft Spirits, and hey, you know what? This has 3 attack, which means it cannot actually overkill those O3s, which is annoying. But this might be one of those minions where overkilling is not a thing. This also screws over Shaman, by the way, just because Shaman's going to totem and this will overkill and draw bats. So worse, sorry, let me get the thing here first so I can just go to it quickly. Worse than a Feeding Time, sure, but still a good card. So I would have it here in the top of the 4th bucket with like these cards right here. Okay. Next here, Crowd Roaster. If you're holding a dragon, deal 7 damage to a minion. It's Blaze Caller, except for dragons. Top of the 6th, like I think elementals are easier to get, so bottom of the 7th. Sorry, not bottom of the 7th. Top of the 7th bucket. Let me get that right. Top of the 7th bucket for Crowd Roaster. Just because you're not going to have dragon decks that are going to justify having this. I think it's a lot harder. Grifta. Discover 2 cards, give 1 to your opponent at random. You know what the cards are. You know what you give your opponent. Your opponent does not know what you give you. This is not a symmetrical effect. This is an effect where you gain from what you have done. Therefore, this is better than a Yeti. Because a Yeti is simply a 4/5. This is a 4/5 where you gain something and your opponent you gain something that your opponent doesn't gain. And you have a lot of choices on what you can give your opponent. Like you can give them garbage, or you can give them cards that play in the cards you already have in hand. You can prepare for your opponent's cards, and this is a card that's really going to help out good players because you'll be able to anticipate what your opponent does and what your opponent has. So Grifta, I have it. I'm pretty certain for legendaries, top of the 2nd bucket. Let me scroll down on my thing here. Yeah, I have it as a 68. If we take a look, Hearth Arena. Yeti is a 66. So Yeti's a 66, Grifta, therefore a 68, top of the 2nd bucket. Murloc Tasty Fin. You're not going to have Murlocs. Bottom of the 7th bucket. Serenite Taskmaster. The free agent screws you over way too much. The free agent with taunt is going to screw you over a lot. Like it's death rattle, so you don't actually get to pick it, and it's a 1 mana 2/3 just isn't worth it anymore. So overall, I think this is probably almost certain. I said 7th bucket. Let me scroll. Like I have my list here that has it here. I said bottom of the 6th bucket because it's technically a 1 mana 2/3. But you have to be really, really careful when you play that card or pick that card. Mass Contender. Okay. Non-secret classes. This is like top of the 7th bucket. Paladin and Rogue. You are not going to draft 2 secrets, top of the 7th bucket. Mage. The problem with Mage is that your secrets, for the most part, are very easy to trigger. So you need to have 2 secrets. You need to have your secrets actually not get triggered for this thing to get value. So I would say like maybe top of the 6th bucket for Mage. And in the class that really is going to benefit from this is Hunter. That's right. Yeah, bottom of the 6th bucket, top of the 6th bucket of Mage, both are pretty much the same. Because Hunter, you can play a secret on 2. And the way you play around Hunter's secrets is you don't proc them. So it's going to stick up, which means you can play this on 3 and play another secret from hand. So it's similar to the 1 Hunter card, the other 3 mana 2/4. I think this, like, I'm not going to go back and look at it. I don't know the names yet. But the 3 mana 2/4 that discovers a spell where Like there's a huge difference, but it still requires you to have multiple secrets. So I think in Hunter, I would say 4 minus in Hunter. It's worse than the other card because you need to have multiple secrets and you need to have a secret up when you play this, but you can get a lot of value from it if you have it set up. Soup Vendor. When you restore 3 or more health to your hero, draw a card. There are so few ways to actually restore 3 or more health to a hero. So I don't think that this effect is going to go off all that much. Maybe in Paladin if you take the flashes of light. Like Priest, it's not going to go off because you only restore 2 health by yourself. So it's a 2 mana 1/4. I would say top of the 7th bucket. It's not really good stats. Rabble Bouncer. 1 less for each enemy minion. So you can assume that it's not going to get out on 4 because your opponent's going to only have like 1 minion out. So that automatically, like 4 is where it would be good, and it's not going to be out on turn 4, so it's automatically below that. But your opponent's probably going to have like an average of 2 or 3 minions that they'll put on board. So outside of turn 4, later in the game, it's actually going to be a halfway decent card. So I would assume that Rabble Bouncer, it's probably going to be, I would say, hold on, let me double check here. I think I have it in like bottom of the 5th bucket or top of the 6th bucket. Like the Stegadon. The Stegadon by itself is, yeah, top of the 6th bucket here. Stegadon is like a top of the 7th bucket card. So let's assume it goes off enough, top of the 6th bucket. See? Went the wrong way. How many cards left? Yay, 10 cards left. All right. Amani Warbear. As I mentioned, it's about the same as a Furious Ettin. It's about the same as Devil Sword. Those are both bottom of the 3rd bucket cards. Therefore, I think Amani Warbear is going to be right around with them because it's a little, sorry, top of the 3rd bucket cards is what I meant to say. Yeah. Wait, did I change? Okay, never mind. Yeah, I changed. Okay, never mind. I changed my thought on this after a while. I changed it like yesterday. Okay, I have Amani Warbear in the top of the 3rd bucket, and I think it's just because, like, my reasoning then, like, if it's bottom or top, it's fine. I'm thinking top might be better, just because it's versatile, because it removes and it develops, and that's about the most important thing you can do, or the most impactful thing you can do, to remove and develop. And I think it removes, it develops, and it can be a big taunt, or it could be a removal. And yeah, that's just so versatile. So I think top of the 3rd bucket because it's a little bit better than both of those, even though it's individually weaker than each one. Fire Tree Witch Doctor. You need Dragon decks. You're not going to have Dragon decks, most likely. So I would say top of the 7th bucket, just maybe you'll get Dragons. So, like, give it a little boost from other 2 mana 2/2s. Like, really powerful card, but yeah. Okay, Hakarda Soulflare. Love the mechanic. Completely garbage card, but love the mechanic. Bottom of the 3rd bucket. Like, let's see here. Let me get it here. Have it down here. Yeah, bottom of the 3rd bucket. It's 15. It's a meme card. It's cool. It's not good. Don't pick it. Untamed Beastmaster. This is a 3 mana 3/4 with whenever you draw a beast, give it +2/+2. So Hunter averages like 5 to 6 beasts or so per deck. So in Hunter, this is like sorry here. In Hunter, it's like a really, really good card. I would say bottom of the 3rd bucket in Hunter, because remember that just a 3 mana 3/4 by itself is like bottom of the 4th bucket. Like where have we got here? Like here, Tango 4 Mystic. This is bottom of the 4th bucket. Blackwold Pixie, bottom of the 5th bucket for whatever reason. So, Amalgam, like top of the 4th bucket. So give it something for being better than that. And then for other classes, it's just 3 mana 3/4, and that's like bottom of the 4th bucket because that's basically where the 3 mana 3/4s end up going. Okay, Waterboy. There was a card in TGT that had this effect, and that card was like Fencing Coach, was 3 mana 2/2, and you could bank your hero power. This one, you have to use your hero power this turn and have this one. So a tempo 0 mana 2/1 that's conditional. I just don't see it happening. Like, I don't think it's strong enough to really justify it. I would probably say top of the 7th bucket. Yeah, I just don't see it working. Gurubashi chicken. Okay, we got angrier than the angry chicken. Yeah, bottom of the 7th bucket. Andasta. So with Andasta, summon a beast from your hand. So let's just establish, is this better than Charged Devilsaur? Yes, because you are going to draft beasts and you're going to get this out. So I think Charged Devilsaur is 8 and this is 9, but the potential to get any kind of beast out is really strong. So I think and there are so many big beasts that you can get out. Think about a Witchwood Grizzly in your hand. You have a 3/12 taunt that you summon with this. Like, it's going to be a top tier constructed card. It's going to be like a good arena card. Like, if you get it and you have beasts, this is insane. So I have it in the bottom of the first legendary bucket, which would be about an 80 or so. And that's only factoring in that maybe you get this too late when you don't have beasts. Belligerent Gnome. If your opponent has 2 or more minions, gain +1 attack. That's 1 mana. That it's a 2 mana 1/4 is good on its own. Or like a 2 mana 1/4 with taunt. I'm not going to say good. Like, it's average. That would make it up about a Raptor or a River Croc. Now, your opponent is definitely going to play more than 2 minions. Maybe not on curve, but it's going to happen. So this thing is going to be, it's going to be Vulgar Homunculus. It's going to be a little bit worse than Vulgar Homunculus because, like, you can play Vulgar Homunculus on 2, but then you're not actually hurting yourself. So I have it in the bottom of the 4th bucket, just because, like, once you get past turn 2, then a 3 mana 2/4, or turn 3, a 3 mana 2/4 is a little bit too weak. But I think it's still going to be a solid card, a card that you should definitely pick. Ticket Scalper, like the bane of overkill cards. So I talked about this one a little bit earlier. 5/3s do stick on the board. I know that from playing Rogue, that 5/3s do stick. It will hit, but it really does not have an immediate impact because it can get removed way too easily. Things like Dark Iron Dwarf or Phoenix have an immediate impact. Basilisk has a similar impact, but a stronger impact in making sure your opponents cannot play something. So I think people are going to learn to play around this card, and that's going to artificially lower its power level. I have it in the bottom of the 2nd bucket. 2nd bucket, if we go over here, like Fire Plume Phoenix, Weaponized Pinata, Stonehill up here. I think things like Basilisk really ought to be up here, Dark Iron ought to be up here, like things that have an immediate impact. Real good card, possibly the card the arena meta revolves around, but I don't think it's all that broken. Finally, Sharkfin Fan, last card. My voice is saying yay. All right, so after hero attacks, summon a 1/1 pirate. So obviously in Rogue, this is OP. In classes like Paladin and Warrior, maybe this will work. I don't see it. Yeah. So basically in Rogue, you always pick it. This is probably like, what, about 4? What do I have? Let's see here. Yeah, I added a 4+ in Warrior. 4+ in Rogue, 4- in Warrior, 5+ in Paladin, Shaman and Hunter, and 7- otherwise. Sorry, Shaman, Hunter, and I should say Druid because it's not just weapons, because you have a hero power in Druid, so you can get it. So, and that's it. That is all the neutrals. If you have watched all of this, I am impressed because this is multiple hours of just listening to me review cards. I think you would actually save time by reading it rather than listening to all of this. So, thank you all for watching this. Let me know if you've YouTube stuff. Wrong thing. Let me know if you appreciated any of this, and maybe I'll do more videos like this in the future. All right. Thank you all for watching, and have a nice Rumble.